It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as AEW failed to license a popular entrance music, a Hall of Famer says WWE have a problem, and is Kevin Owens set to become All Elite? All that and more coming up in today's video, but first... Tonight, AEW will host the post-All Out episode of Dynamite as we come off the back of what is arguably the best AEW pay-per-view of all time. The show saw CM Punk's first match back in wrestling after a 7-year hiatus, as well as the huge AEW debuts of Minoru Suzuki, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson. So far, 3 matches have been announced for the show, including a showdown between Nightmare Family representative Dustin Rhodes, who takes on Malachi Black in singles action. This follows Black running through Cody Rhodes, Brock Anderson, and most recently Lee Johnson, all of which who are part of the Nightmare Family. Ruby Soho makes her Dynamite debut as she takes on Britt Baker's bodyguard, Jamie Hayter. This is ahead of Soho's eventual AEW Women's title match against Baker, a shot she earned by winning the Casino Battle Royal at All Out. And Jon Moxley will mark his homecoming to Cincinnati with a one-on-one match with the most feared man in New Japan Pro-Wrestling, Minoru Suzuki. This will be the second time the two men have met in singles action, with the first being last year in February, when the then IWGP US champion Moxley came out on top, successfully defending his title in the process. Whilst no segments have officially been confirmed as of this recording, we should expect to see some kind of follow-up from the Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debuts, as well as potentially something to set up CM Punk's next opponent after he defeated Darby Allin at All Out. It should be a fun episode with lots of excitement going into it, and let's hope AEW can deliver once again. There's bound to be some new viewers checking in, so hopefully we get a solid episode to keep them around. Also, before we continue, I need to give a quick shout out to the user Elderly Undertaker, who successfully predicted every single match at AEW All Out. I said in my predictions video that I'll give a shout out to anybody that does so well done to Elderly Undertaker, if that is your real name. This weekend at the All Out pay-per-view, Bryan Danielson made his AEW debut confronting the Elite. Whilst many anticipated his arrival, one of the things that was a surprise to many was the entrance music that he used on the way to the ring. Fans expected to hear the Final Countdown by Europe, which Danielson used during his time on the Independents before joining WWE in 2009. Instead, he used a song named Born for Greatness, which is a remixed version of Ride of the Valkyries, his WWE entrance music. Ride of the Valkyries has been around since 1854, so there's no legal issues with it being used due to it being classed as public domain. This basically means anyone can use it. However, it seems AEW originally planned on using the iconic Final Countdown, but they were unable to secure the rights from the publishers. According to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer, the song is said to have been too expensive, so they instead opted to go down the cheaper route. AEW have never been shy to license music, as seen with Cult of Personality for CM Punk, Tarzan Boy for Jungle Boy, and Where Is My Mind for Orange Cassidy, so it must have been a pretty steep fee. Also, a quick note on Punk's music, as when AEW reached out to license Cult of Personality, the band who performed the song Living Colour called Punk to check that it was actually for him. If it wasn't, they were gonna say no. WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley got people talking yesterday after he took to his Facebook page to give his thoughts on the ongoing rise of AEW and the state of WWE. This follows WWE's constant releases as well as continuous creative woes, followed by the huge AEW debuts of Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and Ruby Soho, all of which were let go by WWE in recent months. And let's not forget the fact that AEW successfully convinced CM Punk to make his much anticipated return to the ring. In a video titled WWE We've Got a Problem, Foley gave a warning to the McMahons and said,
"Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley. I'd like to title this video WWE We've Got a Problem. And that problem is that WWE is no longer the place for talent to aspire to. Part of it is because AEW is doing a great job of attracting great talent, proven talent, building other talent, creating storylines, but part of it is a problem of your own making.
Foley continued by running down the fruitless WWE creative process, using Karrion Kross's botched main roster move as an example, and even stated he wouldn't trust WWE with his career if he was active today. And he said,
I think younger talent sees the way that developmental characters are cut or left by the wayside, or in the case of Karrion Kross, greatly watered down and even made a joke of when they debut on the main roster. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If I was an aspiring talent now, big league talent with a major decision to make, I'm not sure that I would trust WWE Creative to do the right thing with my career. You guys did wonders with me back in the day, but that was a different time, different place. If it was today, I'm not sure I would trust the powers to be with my career in their hands. And until that changes, WWE, you've got a problem.
As AEW continued to grow, it begs the question as to when WWE will begin to pick up their game to solidify themselves as top dogs in the business. Right now they seem resistant to change, and you could even say that they're unaware of the growth AEW has undergone in the past couple of months alone. They still at least publicly dismiss them as any kind of competition whatsoever. And on the AEW front, whilst they're not competing in the overall viewership for ratings, if you look at the all-important key demo, they're not so far off. And as I've said before, despite what's going on right now, it's going to take some time for AEW to truly start to compete numbers-wise. If we take WCW as an example, arguably their best year creatively was 1997, but they did their best business in terms of ratings and revenue in 1998, just because it takes some time for the ripple effect to come into play. Similarly, we'll likely see AEW reap the benefits of what's going on right now in the next 6 to 12 months. I do get the feeling that WWE will be forced to overhaul their product at some point, as this complacency, if not naivety, will only get them so far. And honestly, I hope they do start knocking it out of the park so we can all have some great wrestling to watch, with a true war between two top promotions. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you drop a like on the video as it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head, hopefully, towards 100,000 subscribers. But now, let's press play on the video. And finally, we have an update on the next potential jump from WWE to AEW after former Universal Champion Kevin Owens teased a reunion of the Mount Rushmore of PWG. Owens took to Twitter yesterday to post the numbers 43.8791 and 103.4591, which is the coordinates to the famous US monument. If you Google the term Mount Rushmore coordinates, up pop the exact numbers posted by Owens, which shows that this is no coincidence. Some may be asking what this has to do with AEW. Well, for those unaware, Mount Rushmore was a stable formed in PWG after the 2013 Battle of Los Angeles, consisting of Kevin Steen, the now Kevin Owens, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole. The original incarnation of the group ended in 2014 when Steen joined WWE after a triple superkick from his stablemates. Of course, we've just seen the reunion of Adam Cole and the Young Bucks in AEW at the All Out pay-per-view, with Cole debuting and joining the Elite. Kevin Owens did reveal in 2018 that he signed a 5-year deal with WWE, which means he wouldn't be able to make the move until 2023. It seems, however, that this is no longer the case, as according to Fightful, who have been bang on as of late, sources within the company have been told that Kevin's WWE deal now expires in January 2022, in around 4 months' time. It was noted that during the pandemic, WWE restructured a number of contracts, with Owens's being one of them. Whilst there is no official word on if he has any intentions of making the jump, AEW is no doubt quickly becoming the place to be right now, and his latest tweet seems to suggest that he could have his eye on reforming Mount Rushmore, perhaps becoming a member of the Elite. And would you like to see Kevin Steen join the Elite, or perhaps have Kevin Steen pretend to join the Elite only to swerve them? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And make sure you check out my video where I discuss 10 times that AEW wrestlers rejected WWE, including Bryan Danielson and the Elite.